kind of basic description of what Gabriel looks like, as well as your basic story, kind of what happened.
Would you like me to provide what's listed on his missing poster at National Center for Missing and Exploited for the description, and then you go ahead and give and add to that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Date of birth, May 3rd, 2009. Missing, listed as missing December 27th, 2009. His height is 2 feet tall even, so 24 inches. Blue eyes. He's white. 9 months old now. Weighs approximately 20 pounds. Light brown hair, missing from Tempe.
Okay. His eyes are a little bit droopy to the outer edges of his eyes. They kind of droop down a little bit. His chin kind of sinks, not really the chin part, but you know where you would have teeth, like say you had teeth and you pulled your teeth out, how your lip would go inward. It's his bottom lip and it kind of goes inward, you know? And so it kind of makes his chin come out a little bit at the bottom, but inward towards the mouth at the lip, you know? And he sucks on his bottom lip a lot. If he doesn't have his bottom lip to suck on, then, you know, if he's got a pacifier, then he'll suck on his bottom lip. Or if you put your fingers in his mouth, he'll bite your fingers because he was teething when we saw him last. Oh my gosh, this is really hard.
He was a pretty boy.
Yeah, he was.
He is a pretty boy.
Mm-hmm. He was a pretty. He is still a pretty boy.
He's a gorgeous
I mean, no
child.
matter what, you know. So and he had pads for feet and hands. His hands were big old pads with long fingers. So like, if you could imagine, like he would have been like what's it called, a quarterback. He would have been a quarterback. I mean, he could catch a football when he grows up. I know he could because he had this big old pad for a hand with these long fingers, you know.
And interrupt you real quick here, Deb. Do you have a picture?
Do I have a picture? Yeah, I'll give you his missing poster in Skype here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Oh, another important thing too is the top of his chest from the belly button up until his shoulders came upward and outward. And I don't know if it's because of constipation or not. I know that in the 9 days that we had him, finally around day 5, he hadn't had a bowel movement, and it was about 4 or 5 days, and I went to the pharmacy and got him like one of those baby, it's like a little laxative enema thing, and I got about 5 or 6 rocks, that like literally rocks coming out of him, and he hadn't gone to the bathroom, and it was very, very rare that he would go to the bathroom even after that, so I constantly massaged him, but after that day, that fullness up in his chest and the upper abdominal area sort of went down a little bit and was more soft. But I have a feeling in his lifetime he's been pretty impacted. And I know that sounds weird because I'm a colon therapist, but you know, I'm serious. He seemed to be very, very impacted for a 7-month-old baby. When we had him, he was 7 months, and that's not, you know, he shouldn't have been that way. So he must have suffered some kind of emotional trauma or something, in my opinion, to be so impacted like that, you know?
Right.
Would you like to hear basically the story now?
Right. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dan.
Okay. I was in an airport, and I'm going to give you the real short version, okay, because it would take me 2.5 hours to tell you the story or more. I was in an airport in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I met her there on a layover. She was crying and distraught. Long story short, you know, finding out that she wanted to put the baby up for adoption. Her grandmother wanted her to adopt the baby out, and Logan wouldn't sign papers. So they couldn't do it. So she was on her way back to Tennessee. I gave her my information.
Approximately 2 months ago.
Back to Phoenix. Back to Phoenix, Arizona, not Tennessee.
When you first met her that first time.
I'm sorry. Did I say Tennessee? I'm sorry. I said Tennessee. This was when I first met her. This was, I believe, in July. right, Jack? Was it July?
Yes, I believe it was July, yes.
Okay. So I was coming back from the IACT convention. So we met in Indianapolis on our way. Both of us were on our way back to Arizona. And I found out she wanted to adopt the baby out. The grandmother had tried, she had tried, and it wasn't going to happen because Logan wouldn't sign papers. So I gave her all of my information, my website, my email address, phone numbers, everything. Went home and cried because she never did call me back. And then finally on December the 8th, she finally called me and said, "Are you ready to adopt him?" And I was like, "What?" And I already had a baby that was getting ready to be born that Tuesday that we were going to adopt, that I had already formed a bond with,
Right.
And so anyway, we went to her house the next day on the 9th, December 9th, and we stayed there probably 3 to 4 hours sitting there talking with her. You could tell she had been crying a lot, just eyes puffy and red, and she had tears and she'd wipe them away, and, we talked a lot. And she said that this is definitely something that she's been wanting to do since she's been pregnant. The father's name is Logan, and he refused to do it most of the time, but every now and then he would say okay, and they just weren't ever on the same page. I guess at this point she was tired of a good life, and she was afraid for the baby to be with the father because there was a lot of things that she wouldn't tell us, that she didn't want to talk about. And all we know is that from the information that she showed us and gave us, showing her parenting classes and, the shots up to date for the baby and everything that she's done for the baby. And then, of course, she showed us, where to go to look for his record to find out all the horrible things he's done. So,
we had at that particular point, we had some fairly, as you can imagine, some very serious fears and some wonderment about how could have, it's hard enough to understand the one at birth giving up a child, but after 7 months there must be some kind of a bond there. So I had some definite hard questions for her. We got over there and we played with the baby, and I began to ask her questions as to why. Why you? What is this going to? What will this do for you? If you're just going to stay status quo, I'm not interested in taking and being the person you hand your child off, so you can just go out and party all the time. But she let us know at that particular point that it was her goal to go back to school. She was she had a full scholarship that she needed to get back to in order to complete that, and so we had some papers that had been drawn up, which was basically a temporary guardianship as it related to the new baby that was going to be born in a few days, just so that we would be able to take him from the hospital. And so Tammy said, "You know what, I'm going to take these papers." Well, so what she did, she went into her computer, and basically it was a Word document. She was able to change the names to Gabriel and put down Elizabeth's Elizabeth's name. So at that point, when we were there, I had about 4 or 5 questions that I asked her, and then I just stepped back for a minute because I had a wonderful mother and a wonderful family, and I couldn't even imagine anything even close resembling a mother giving her child up. And so I looked at Tammy and I told her, I said, let's be babysitters for a while. Let this girl get her head on straight, because she may wake up tomorrow morning and say, "Oh, he must be crying," and get up and, "Oh, he's not here," and then break down. And I said, let's just babysit, because I don't feel this is right here. And so and I told Tammy, I said, we don't need the papers. And so I went on out to the car. And Tammy came out in a minute, and she opened up the car, and she said, I said, "Where are we going?" She said, to the bank to get this notarized. And I said, "Well, okay," because I'm not going to question my wife as it relates to being legal. And so, and thank God we did do that, because obvious was that later on that evening, Elizabeth went out to find Logan to basically say to him, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to need you to sign papers. And the police came to our house the very night that Gabriel was at our house, looked to see who's okay, and that paper that we had allowed us to be legal, and the police officer said, I've been with both the mother and the father, and this is where this baby belongs. Go ahead, Tammy.
Go ahead? Okay. So from there, I think it was maybe the second, I'm trying to remember. I'm upstairs in an unfamiliar territory. I'm in my bedroom. This is the only I've seen his car. Well, so let's see. On day 3 is when she decided to have us come to her house. She called us up there. We went up there. We brought the baby. She saw the baby play with us, love on us. We loved on him. And that's when she decided, this is my final decision. I want you guys to keep the baby, and I've made the right decision. And she seemed very happy and content over her decision. And around day 5 is when CPS called me early in the morning and said, you need to come to Elizabeth's house. There's been a complaint filed against her by the father of child abuse and child neglect. I went over to her house and brought the baby, and they looked at the baby. They looked at all the proof that she had, the shot records and all of these things that the mom had. And they looked at the clean house, clean, healthy baby, and they said, clearly there has been no neglect and no abuse here. So we're closing the book on this case. This is ridiculous. How dare the father make a false report? So moving along, let's see.
All the time, I think it's important to add all the time too that we were recognizing we need to talk with the father about this. You know, I mean, at some point we've got to, and she was trying to set it up for us to be able to speak with the father. So through phone calls, because she couldn't get a hold of him. He didn't have a phone. He didn't have a place to live. So go ahead, Tam.
Wait, I want to just interject real quick. How much do you need to know? I mean, because this is going to take us literally 2.5 to 3 hours if we get deeper into everything, and it's late at night. I've got to put my daughter to bed. I mean, I do want to talk, but
just catch the basics here of what happened.
Yeah,
How did he disappear?
Okay. Huh?
How did he disappear?
Okay, so father's trying to take custody away completely with no visitation, so she gets scared. And that's when I, helped her with paperwork at the courthouse. And then they went to court. According to her, she told me that she got full custody. The father was, when he came to court, he knew he was going to see the baby. The father and his father were there. They were there to see the baby that day. We were supposed to talk about the adoption that day, and we had pictures, the Santa Claus pictures for him. He walked out of the courtroom and stormed out of there, so we assumed that obviously he's mad, and I asked her what happened in court. She said, well, he just lost and I won custody, so he's mad. So we waited for 15 minutes or so, and the father never came back. So we assumed what the mother said was true, that she just won full custody and he lost. So the next morning was Friday morning. She called me and said that the father, Logan, is calling saying that he gets a visitation Saturday morning from 8 a.m. until Monday morning at 8 a.m. And I was like, what? How is that? If you said that you got full custody and you guys have to go back to court in March. And she said, I don't know. I don't know if he's lying or telling the truth, but he's telling me this, and he's saying that if I don't do this, I'll go to jail for kidnapping. And I was like, okay. So we ended up that evening, Friday evening, dropping the baby off to her at the Glass and Grass Garden Church or something like that off of McDonald and the 101 Interstate.
Now this is, if I can interrupt for a second, this is after you had Gabriel with you for what, about 9 days?
This is day 9, yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So on day 9, it was a Friday evening. We dropped him off at the Glass and Grass Garden Church or whatever right off of the interstate. And she picked him up because it was going to be too early the next morning to go to get the babies up and dressed and ready and get them out of the house. It was cold out. And so I said, we either need to drop him off tonight or we need to bring him by tomorrow afternoon around noon. So ask Logan, and she called me right back and said, no, Logan said 8 a.m. or he's going to have me arrested. And I was like, that's really ridiculous, it's just a visitation, So we did it. It wasn't our child. We had to do what we were told, So we dropped him off, and then we got home. As soon as we got home, I called her at her house. No answer. I left a message. I called the next morning. I left another message. We were frantic by the next morning, and we were upset, too, because we had had our baby for 9 days. She told us she wanted us to adopt him. She told us she wanted our help. We extended our hand in helping her, emotionally in every way we could. And all of a sudden, she's not even answering the phone for us. And then by Sunday, I started getting gone from being mad to now being scared. Did Logan kill her? Did he kill her and the baby? Did she kill herself or the baby? And I mean, we had so many different feelings and emotions going on. And then by Monday, we were supposed to pick up the baby Monday morning, according to her on Friday. That was that was her agreement that she wanted us to pick the baby up. So we went to her house Monday morning to go pick up the baby, and no answer at the door. So I tried knocking on a neighbor's door, no answer. So I said, okay, we're not leaving here. This is an hour and 15 minutes away from our home. We're not going to just leave here. We're sticking around this area. And so we went to Denny's and we ate breakfast. And then we went back, and I knocked on the door again. And then we got scared, thinking, oh, my gosh, was it a murder-suicide? So we were banging on the neighbor's door. Nobody would answer. Everybody's blinds around there were drawn. Everything dark in everyone's houses. So then we decided, let's go to Logan's work. And so we went up to the 99-cent store looking for him, and nobody knew where he was. And so I asked if they could call him, and they tried to call him. They said that the only phone number they had was Elizabeth's phone number, that he didn't have a phone. So couldn't get in touch that way. I came home. I researched Logan's name and number and researched his father, and then finally at around noon on Monday, Logan called me, and me and Logan talked for a little bit, and we talked about the baby. I was hoping that he had him. He was hoping I had him. And it was just very, very odd that he called me, because he was, according to Logan, he was supposed to get the baby at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. And he's not calling me until noon the next day, when he knew that we were the ones who would have had the baby if Elizabeth wouldn't have, he knew that we were going to be adopting the baby. He knew that we had the baby. And so if Elizabeth wasn't home, then we would have been the obvious place to look. So he was telling us that he had been looking at all of her friends' houses, and I guess it didn't dawn on me at the moment why. Why would she be looking at all of her friends' houses? You knew he was here, all this time. So then we started talking and, just getting to know each other on the phone, me, Jack, and Logan. And then, I finally said, Logan, what is the deal? I mean, Elizabeth is telling me all these things that you want the baby to be adopted, and then, and the next thing we know, you're filing paperwork. And then next thing we know, she's saying, no, you want him to be adopted, but your dad may not want him to. And I said, well, what's the real story here? And he said, no, me and my dad have been talking about this, and, it would be really hard for me to be a single father. And, we're really thinking that we would like for you guys to adopt the baby. And so we had conversations like that a couple times. On Monday, the 21st, we talked for about an hour that day, and then the next day he called, and he said, Elizabeth had just posted something on MySpace, so if you get in touch with her through MySpace, she might call you. And we did that, and Elizabeth called us back. When she called us back, my husband immediately dialed Logan's number and let him kind of listen in on the phone conversation with me and Elizabeth. And then so we hung up. We found out that, that was her. We found out by Googling that her number came from San Antonio, Texas. So Jack called Logan back, and he said, look, this is a deal. I'm going to give you her phone number, but we need to make a deal here, that if I give you the number, you're not going to harass her, you're not going to, what's the word, Jack? You're not going to threaten her, yeah. And because threatening her is basically what made her leave, by all of the threats and all of the legal things he was doing, falsifying documents to make her look like a bad mother to take away all her rights. So because of that, she left, and we're like, you just can't do this. If you want her to come back and bring this baby back, you can't do that. We will keep her, we will keep in contact with her. And we told him, she bought a 1-week hotel stay in San Antonio. So your job is to go find her and bring that baby back here. Our job is to talk to her on the phone and keep her surfaced so that she doesn't do what she's claiming to do. And that was change her identity, change the baby's identity, and basically run away forever. So we did that. We worked on that. Elizabeth told me to tell Logan that if he would sign the papers for adoption, then 5 days later she would bring the baby back and she would sign papers. And he was angry over that and said, you tell her no, and blah, 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 blah. And so this went on for probably 4 or 5 conversations, back and forth, me telling him what she's saying and him telling her what, back and forth, me being the in-between because they wouldn't talk to each other. So let's see. Meanwhile,
well, we've forgotten that we're not being basic here. You wanted to how much you wanted in basic. I mean, the basics is she was in San Antonio. We were having conversations with her, trying to get her back here. And then on the 27th of December, she texted Logan and told Logan in a text that, I'm sorry?
I think it was the 26th.
26th or 27th, because we didn't get that text. I was thinking it was 27th, but on the 26th or so, she texted Logan and said that she had killed the baby, and then she set out to take off, and she was caught in Miami and back here, and she won't talk to nobody. And that's
who was the last person that actually witnessed the baby in San Antonio?
I think it was by a what is it called? A camera, like a video camera?
Surveillance camera. It was a surveillance camera, yes.
Okay, and so she left San Antonio and went where?
She went to actually Fort Lauderdale. And then went on to Miami from there and was arrested in Miami.
Never seen in Florida.
Excuse me?
The baby was never seen in Florida.
The baby was never seen.
Not to anybody's recollection.
They have surveillance cameras of her getting on the bus in San Antonio with a backpack and no baby with her.
Well, and the last time that he was actually seen that we know of, the date of that is the 26th of December. Sorry to interrupt and insert that, but...
Okay, and the only thing we have is a surveillance camera in San Antonio. What vehicle was she driving? How was she getting around in San Antonio?
It was her grandfather's white Oldsmobile.
Okay. That vehicle was ditched when?
When she
got on the bus.
Okay.
Yes, it was, which would have been the 27th.
And it was recovered. The mother did tell me in a jailhouse interview where the car was, and about 30 minutes later, the police picked up the car.
Okay. Now? Basically, you've had a chance to talk with her. Was she unstable enough to kill the child?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
Right. My personal feelings concur. Yes.
Okay. The next issue, she didn't have a lot of time between that time that the child was last seen on surveillance to the time that she got on the bus. No one else spotted her anywhere else. Am I correct?
I don't know.
We don't know exactly when those sightings were of her being seen in the company of his Hispanic male. who no one knows who that is. And she was seen with a Hispanic male twice. We don't know when those sightings in San Antonio were. And one of the times that she was seen with a Hispanic male, she was also seen with a couple.
And the mother has said that she gave the baby away to a couple, and she said that they did a closed adoption, which of course is not legal because it's, without the father's signature, that wouldn't be a legal closed adoption. But the mother claims that she did an adoption.
Well, and she claims it happened because she was sitting on a park bench. She took Gabriel to the park and she was crying, and they approached her and asked her if she was okay and if they could help, correct?
That's what she says. I don't believe that story, though.
Okay.
I don't believe that
too
story.
Too mirror of an image of us.
Okay, is this what she said to police?
That's what she said to the FBI and to me.
But she can't seem to remember who they are, huh?
Correct.
No.
Okay. And it's odd because, as big as this case is, that if anybody's adopted right now the child, the picture's been everywhere. You definitely know adopted a child, or you know what I mean?
Well, if you've adopted a child, maybe you're looking over your shoulder, but we have family in California that sees nothing about this case.
Okay. But it has to be highly publicized in Texas.
Yep, it is.
One would think.
Okay. Some of the things I'm seeing, I'm not sure I understand yet, so I'm a little confused on it. Deb, I got to ask you, what was Brian's drawings? Where did Brian's drawings send or place to put the child?
Okay, Brian, we've got you on the line with us here, correct?
I think he's asleep.
He might be.
Fall asleep on us, Brian. He's still connected. I know he was muting. As far as Brian's drawings, I can pull up the case file. There was something where surveillance video of a Walmart is important, a gift card is important.
Shark.
But what's
near baseball field?
What's
something regarding Mexico and either adoption or abduction also. Now let's see, where is that?
Mexico
and Sweden.
Mexico?
Pardon me?
Mexico or New Mexico?
Mexico.
Okay.
Mexico, it has been cited in a drawing, has been mentioned in a drawing, and that also he has mentioned in his drawings, here let me go up to the top and go through and give you what he's got here. He's got, there's been a lot on Gabriel so far. Got a lot of drawings for him. Let me find the ones that have the crucial information.
Because the reason why I'm asking is I saw a connection to New Mexico as well. Which,
okay. He's got here, here's one that was done. This wasn't one of his initial ones. This was done on the 23rd of January. It says 267114 Cargo, Mexico, Aeroprento, Terminal 1, Flight to Switzerland 401, and then the numbers 121311109. Baseball field has come up several times. A gift card has come up several times. Accident happened, not her fault. Okay, Cargo is one on the 18th of January. Also on that same date, baseball field 12/31/2009, Mexican, adoption. Look at card numbers, not the truth. Photo sent online. January 8th, 4:27 p.m. Smith Hospital, Mexico, Nevo N.
Okay.
And
let me stop you there, Deb.
Okay.
The thing that is bothering me is, I feel like this had something to do with the computer. And how did she get a hold of these people through the computer, and has the hard drive been checked?
She was active on
That is exactly what we've been asking.
Correct? And she got that person to be a roommate for her home there?
Yeah, and remember that I told Brian that we've been begging the police since the beginning to go to the Scottsdale Library. That is where she used to go and use the internet at the Scottsdale Library. And 2 months later, the police were still saying, we don't have anybody to go over there and look through the hard drives over there. We don't know how to work on computers and, you know, and deal with that. So we're still wondering, have they gone to the Scottsdale Library yet?
Now, he's got something here, border at Laredo, on the 6th of January on a redo, because I sent him this case as soon as the missing poster hit National Center, as soon as Gabriel went missing, before anything came out. You know, I don't think that she was even arrested yet at that point for custodial interference. She wasn't. On the 6th of January, he said, baseball field is nearby, 300 years southeast, years, that could be yards possibly. Yards, yes, yards. Reading his writing, it's yards, not what he transcribed it to be. Southeast of last check. Increased reward will spark confession. Used to go to Austin, border at Laredo. Now we know Laredo is in Texas.
Right.
As far as other locations that he's come up with, gift card keeps coming up repeatedly, and a shirt with a shark on it, which is something that's he thinks one of his children has one. Here we've got December 31st, department store, baseball. Report is wrong. Child is safe. Police have phone number, 864-7182, and then 480 as additional numbers after that. The other drawing, baseball field 2. She's taking him to save his life. That was the initial drawings that he first did on the 28th. The poster went up. He was reported missing on the 27th, and I gave the case to Brian right away, and he posted it. He did the drawings on the 28th of December, and he posted them to the net on the 29th, the day before they arrested her in Miami. So we were on this case immediately because I noticed this cute little boy was just listed on National Center, so I sent him the case right away.
Okay.
Now, I'll just skim down and see if I find any more location things, but those are key points so far.
That's okay, Deb. The thing is, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go on Google Earth and see exactly what I'm seeing here, but I'm not seeing death symbols. So.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing death symbols. The thing is, I know Brian says Mexico, but I don't feel that we cross borders.
He also had Switzerland, too, came up after that.
It doesn't mean there's ties to other areas, but I just don't feel like we cross borders.
Right, and he doesn't feel the child was in Switzerland. He wasn't necessarily sure that the child had crossed over into Mexico yet either, because, you know, with Brian's work, doesn't mean that it happened already. It could be that it's going to or could possibly be happening shortly after the time that he does do it. You know what I'm saying, Gail?
I'm not feeling that they've crossed in yet. I feel
there's no crossings yet at all.
No, I feel like there's New Mexico issues. But I'd still be wanting to figure out why some of the things I'm seeing don't make sense to me. And I'm not sure.
If you want to tell us what you're seeing, maybe we can help you with making the sense.
Well, has everybody checked out all her family?
No, they have not, and we've begged them to. There's 3 people that need to be checked out.
Let her go, Tim.
Moving to Florida. Correct?
I really feel like there's a possibility that somehow this child's ended up passed off with family.
I have that feeling too. I have a feeling that the grandmother, I have 3 different scenarios, and one of them would be the grandmother, because the grandmother from the beginning was trying to adopt the baby out for her. The grandmother told Elizabeth, whoever you have a baby with, whatever man you have a baby with, you are going to be with that. You're going to have ties with that man the rest of your life.
Yeah, because I really feel like it's a good possibility they've passed off to family.
Well, now Brian has a map here of Rio Bravo Street, El Paso, Texas, that he put up on the 10th of February. He was still researching his redo from February 7th, and he could not find a Puente Rio Bravo, but found something similar, and that was Rio Bravo Street in El Paso, Texas.
Did I give you, where did I give you a location in Texas?
Oh, gosh.
I think we have it somewhere.
It's in a recording, actually. He does have something here. Also, Gabriel was not in landfill 2/18/2010, 3:27 p.m. The number 12, the number 31, and then 0 and 8. Webb County, 78046 zip. Sweden comes up, St. Peter. I think, did you say something about Austin, possibly Austin, Texas?
I thought it was not too far from Austin.
When we were working on it on that show live that time, if I remember correctly, it was actually Austin. Because you had me mapping how far from San Antonio to wherever it was in Texas. I'm trying to remember where that is.
Do we know if she has family in any of those areas?
I don't know.
Cousins?
In what area are you talking about?
Anywhere in Texas?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know. All I know is that she has family in Boston that was moving to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then she has family here in Arizona.
Okay. I'd venture to say she's someone in Texas. That was the reasoning for going there.
Huh.
So you think he's in Texas?
You know, if he's been taken over the state line, it's a good possibility. He's already been taken across state lines, but I don't feel out of the country.
Now, see, I don't understand how they can keep him, hidden. And you're feeling a family member has him.
Yeah. A family member, and it's not necessarily that they're going to keep him because they may pass it off for adoption as their own, or however they could, legally or illegally get away with it.
Are you feeling like it's a family member of Elizabeth's or a family member of Logan's?
Elizabeth.
I don't think she has. Her mom and dad are passed away. I don't know if she maybe could have.
Cousins, you said, Gail?
Uh-huh.
We know she has a twin brother, but they're not all that close.
No, but I feel like there's enough to help, because I don't feel like it's going to the child's going to stay in family hands. That's the thing. Was she more concerned about money?
No.
Not,
She was concerned about the safety of... I'm sorry, what?
Not the point she spoke with you.
Not ever when she spoke with us.
Right. Because there's just a lot of issues surrounding money and other things that I felt like she could gain.
She never asked us for a penny.
I think from everything I'm seeing, I feel like there's a lot of reason why things changed.
I know the baby that we were going to be adopting, the newborn baby that was going to be born, the parents had asked for $2,500, and I turned them down, and I said, I'm not going to buy a baby, and I told Elizabeth about it, and that's kind of when things started to go a little bit differently with the whole, that's when Logan filed papers and tried to take away her rights and stuff after she had found out about that. It was really weird.
Right. So
I don't...
in terms of money. Okay. What I want to do is I want to not say too much right now because of the things that I'm seeing, and I want to write some of this down. And I also want to some of the maps and get back with you guys tomorrow, or at least I'll get with Deb, and then if you guys aren't available at the time, Deb can pass it on to you guys.
Okay.
I'd like to give
Okay, do you want me,
check this
is it
out.
okay, Tammy and Jack, obviously,
The only time is around 2 o'clock and we're busy.
numbers here, you want me to make sure that Gail has your cell phone numbers?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Gail is 30.
Yes.
And I want to make sure, yeah, Deb, if you could put those in Skype, I'd appreciate that.
Sure, I'll do it right now.
I want to go over these maps because I want to see where it leads in the mileage that I'm trying to follow.
See, the easiest thing for Gail is, like, to find someone is to go to the last place that they were seen and do her blind drive, you know?
Yeah.
And I was explaining to Tammy how that's done. I don't know, Gail, if you want to.
Right. Well, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that last location. I'm going to actually go on to Google Earth, and I'm going to try to go from there, kind of the mock blind drive, mapping-wise, and see where it takes me.
Mhm.
Because I haven't pulled up Google Earth. Just kind of waiting to see. Thank you, Deb.
Okay.
You're welcome. Putting Jack's in there now, too, for you.
Well, maybe tomorrow we could talk about, I mean, if depending on what you have, Deb has sort of mentioned to us about the possibilities of you wanting to go to San Antonio, and maybe we can talk about that tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, let me look at maps and see where they lead me. I know Deb has the last known address. I know she has that information. And Deb, if you could email that to me, and so I can get on the maps and check this out.
So you're going to try to do a blind drive via map.
Right.
First off here, with the things you're seeing that you're trying to make sense of at this point.
Right. Kind of like we did with the Kaylee Anthony case, when we did that in the beginning, kind of a preliminary blind drive from the map first. And
But at this point, you have no death symbols, Gail, and you don't feel that he's out of the country.
No, I don't feel he's out of the country. I haven't seen the death symbol yet, no.
But if he's with a family member, he's not going to remain there, which means he'd be passed off probably pretty quickly for whatever adoption, illegal or otherwise, that she's arranged in some way, shape, or form, that whoever's helping her is doing this while she's sitting in jail saying that she gave it to some people that she walked up to her when she was sitting on a bench in a park. I mean, and she's not saying anything more. I mean, if she doesn't start talking and Gabriel's not found, she's going to end up on murder charges with no body.
Right. Yeah.
Why do you think she's keeping her mouth shut and not telling anybody the truth? I mean, I don't understand.
Family, they're gonna be up for charges.
Yeah, but I mean, she could go to jail.
Family meaning
Murder.
whose family? Are you meaning Elizabeth's family?
Hers, yeah. Anybody that's protecting her and that child, you know, or keeping them, is going to be up for charges.
Now, as far as, are you getting anything, Gail, on the dad, on Logan?
Can you tell us why he didn't try to find her during that week that he knew she was at the hotel in San Antonio? Why didn't he was given custody. He had a whole week to go get his baby. Why didn't he do that?
I don't feel he really wants a child.
He doesn't, you don't think he wants him?
No. It was about hurting her though, but it wasn't about him wanting the child because he certainly didn't want the responsibility.
Right. Oh goodness. It's just a sad situation. Because we certainly could have given him a wonderful home.
Well, let me see if I can work on this. I'd like to give you guys a lot of information tonight, but I need to check out some of the stuff while I'm seeing it and see if where it leads me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. I don't mind at all. And Deb,
yes.
If you can give me email me the address of that motel, please.
That was the last one that she was in the Homestead Suites or something. Isn't that what it was called, Tammy?
I believe so. Homestead, I believe, is the name of it.
And that was in San Antonio itself. Homestead Suites and Studios or something to that effect.
Okay.
It's a low price type hotel that, you know, you can rent by the week or whatever. And it's got...
Has Brian got it pinpointed on Google Earth?
Pinpointed the last place that he was seen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a map on the case file.
Okay,
I did put a link to his case file in there for you, right? In Skype for you? briansdreams.com/Gabriel.
Yep.
Okay. So you want me to send you the last known address, and that would be that Homestead Studios and Suites or something like that in San Antonio. The car was actually recovered at a Motel 6, but it was I believe that was near the bus station. And she wouldn't even tell them immediately when they arrested her where they'd left the car. They'd been looking for the car, and then she finally told you, Tammy?
Yeah.
And then they were able to recover it. It was recovered several days after they were arrested, and the baby's car seat was still in the car, was it not?
Yes,
it was. Yes.
But the car seat was really a bad car seat.
Okay.
Yeah, we had bought him a fairly new car seat with the base and all that. And when we brought the baby back to her, she asked us to put him in his old car seat and bring the diaper bag with just 2 diapers, a bottle, and a couple wipes, because supposedly she was giving him to Logan and wanted Logan to, you know, if he wanted his visitation, he needed to be a father, and he needed to buy diapers and, you know, and buy formula and all this other stuff. So I still don't get why she did all that. If it was really true, was she really going to give the baby to Logan? Or I don't know why she did all that. I don't understand it.
Well, now, and you say that on the 18th of December at about 7:30, this is from when we talked earlier today, Tammy. You said that about 7:30 p.m. that night is when you guys gave Gabriel back to her. And she immediately hit the road, and she drove straight through to San Antonio because she was checked in Sunday the 20th into a hotel there.
Right. That's
Did she have help driving straight through, Gail? Do you know? Did she drive it straight through on her own? Did someone go with her and assist her?
No, I feel like she drove it on her own.
She drove it on her own?
Yeah.
And Logan's got no involvement, you don't think, with the baby disappearing?
No.
Pardon me?
She wouldn't take that jail sentence on her own. She'd involve him.
Oh, if he had been helping her, she wouldn't be sitting in the clink on her own. She'd make sure he sat there, too. Okay. And you've got, at this point, no death symbols?
No.
But, you know, if you're able to, with mapping, do like a blind drive via map,
right.
I'll give you the address to begin at and see you can start there. And I did explain how, to Tammy and Jack, how the blind drive works, where you go to the last location, and it doesn't mean you're blindfolded. What you do then is you don't pay attention to anything around you. Maybe you want to explain this a little more.
Yeah, I don't look at anything. I don't pay attention to street names. I usually have another person with me who records everything. They'll be the ones that'll be, you know, putting the camera on the street names and paying attention to those things. I just simply drive to where I feel their vibration takes me.
Mhm.
And that way, if I'm not hindered by worrying about what streets I'm on or anything else, and I don't have as many issues, I'm just simply driving and going according to my feelings.
Right, and you don't want to have to be paying attention because you don't want anything you're doing being influenced either.
Right.
I will also be emailing you guys a link to the blind drive video for Kaylee Anthony so you can see what Gail actually did, because Kaylee's remains were just feet from where Gail had her van parked, just feet off the road. And she said,
"Find the language.
See it yourself. It's incredible." And Travis Sanders, I told you there was Travis Sanders and Reginald Lewis, who are psychic apprentices under Gail, who are very good. And Travis was with Gail on that trip, and he actually, because Gail, you know, like most of the time, like we talked about too, Gail is looking for someone's remains when she goes. And you said it's similar to a feeling like being punched in the stomach or something, but you can clearly see Travis feeling it and Travis like getting sick right at that spot and not even wanting to exit the van. He's very good. He's been on A&E, Psychic Kids, a lot of shows. Gail has been on shows and had, you know, on A&E and on the Geographic Channel and some others, and, you know, been on Larry King Live over a case that you had solved.